Hello, it's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. Top stories in the news tonight. Treasury Authority granted on teacher recruitment as the Teaching Council of Zambia vows not to entertain corruption. PEP leader TEMBO opposes amendments to the Public Order Act but calls for political reforms. Father-in-law provokes marital dispute for putting pubic hair in his son's bedroom. In international news, Visa and MasterCard suspend Russian operations. And in sports news, at least 22 injured as fans fight at Mexican match.
We still need more players, yes, because we need to balance the team. We need to have maybe on one position 3 or 4 players.
The third Camnet Stars football trial is on. This time, Camnet Stars are looking for young, talented and skilled soccer players between the age of 18 and 20 years old. Start your lucrative football career in Europe this July. If you know you are one of Zambia's best gifted soccer players, don't waste your time. On Sunday, the 13th March 2022, there will be trials for professional soccer stars. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Time, registration 13 hours. Kick-off 14 hours. 100 kwacha non-refundable shall be paid and your birth records must be produced upon registration. Camnet Stars, setting football standards for international market.
Hello once again, another news in detail. A 70-year-old man of Lusaka's Garden compound who was recently accused of leaving pubic hair on his daughter-in-law's bedroom table has admitted to having committed this strange act that brought marital dispute between his son and wife. He has, however, narrated that he only left a beard and not pubic hair. Last week, a 25-year-old mother of 2 who opted to remain unknown reported her husband to a community human rights organization for chasing her from her matrimonial house on account of putting the name of her father-in-law to public shame. More in this report.
On the 26th of February 2022, this 25-year-old woman of Lusaka's Garden House compound rushed to a community-based human rights organization to seek help over her predicament after alleging that a 28-year-old husband chased her from her matrimonial home on account that she was putting the name of her 70-year-old father-in-law to public shame. After she alleged that he shaved his pubic hair and left the remains on a bedroom table. However, after getting aside, the organization summoned both her husband and father-in-law. The 70-year-old man accused by his daughter-in-law has admitted to having committed the act, though he claimed to have left a beard and not pubic hair. Speaking in his defense, the man said he had not intentionally left his shaved hair on the bedroom table but did so by mistake.
Okay.
Meanwhile, his son, who accused his wife of starving her father-in-law, observed that on the material day she went to the clinic at 07 hours without cooking a meal for her father-in-law and only came back at 17 hours. He said when he questioned his wife why she acted that way, she said nothing. The man has since explained that he had on several occasions discussed the high cost of living with his wife and that he was trying by all means to ensure that he provided for his family the little he could afford. But he did not expect his wife to reward his effort by adding more problems on him to resolve.
Areza nikakudara kalina nguwe then apeza policies pa hiyo manje hivi bachoka kuti mufuza ine simungafuze walo batate wanu nenze pano kuchoka kuseni nenze naenda ku clinic nezana peleka mwana wanu wamene una ndio mapezeka ku bed batatiso mapezeka ku bed nifusa wewe vilipwani manje wewe nkakali zana bana kamba ndoke pasande zakaenda kuchani umanga nikatengeshe mankwala nifage paja nione wewe hapa kapaja abimbi kai sisi nafunza hapa atisini viziwa nao funza na wewe batati wananu za atisini viziwa so manje wewe kama maybe batati wanu ndiye ngangale baziwa so sometimes futi na bwana na bwele na futi kuli wamene una mufunza bangono mosa ni pafya maningi pano pa nyumba bezo wasapa ni batati maybe ni batati wao uzinga wakaka pepa ya iyo batati ni makulu wasanga shiteva meneni.
The man has, however, informed Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights that he has since forgiven his wife and has no intentions of chasing her and their children from their matrimonial home, but begged his wife's support to be loyal to their family as they faced the current economic crisis.
But matezo onse kumbuyo ku pangono chabe ika kwa chabe 14 15 ntule kwa drama ya chani ndio niambe kushita kwanye nipige but malo kulide paka mweni na bwerera na mufunza ukuja olosukuji nizadi olosinizadi ndiri kulini daka manje ni kuyanga kwa bwanji huko sunga nyange chama meno mani yankina ni kuyanga kwa bwanji ufika chama nyanga bwanji wanyanga muri mugwino.
Meanwhile, the organization director Richard Nkua, who assisted the couple with counseling process, advised them to love and support each other. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Residents of Jack Compound in Lusaka's Kawata constituency have expressed concern over the water crisis in the area, affecting 500 households. In an interview with Camnet News, one of the affected residents, Sinyala Piri, says since the drying up of a borehole, the area has had no access to water. More in the report.
Achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 6 in Zambia through sector-wide assistance requires the global community to work together closely and go an extra mile in ensuring availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. The world has witnessed considerable improvements in the access to clean water and sustainable sanitation over the past decades. This was part of the achievements of the Millennium Development Goals 2015. However, it has become evident that the global community needs to go an extra mile to end poverty even for more people. Residents of Jack Compound in Lusaka's Kawata constituency have expressed concern over the water crisis in their locality, affecting 90 households.
Now it's almost 5 months we don't have water. The borehole which we were tapping from dried up. So we are fetching from far, and the container we are paying, it's about 1 kwacha per 20 liter. Then the drum is 6 kwacha. Then you can imagine since October, we are really suffering. We are supposed to have 8 kwacha. Now 8 container, it cannot be enough for the whole day. So means that you have to spend maybe 15 kwacha in a day. As you can see that water, it's a need, it's not a want. You can't do without water.
The affected residents say it has become costly fetching water elsewhere since their boreholes dried up. The SDGs are interlinked and complex in nature, as efforts to achieve one goal will contribute to other goals. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Teaching Service Commission Vice Chairperson Clement Sinyinda says Treasury Authority has been granted towards the recruitment of 30,000 teachers in the country. And Mr. Sinyinda says the process of cleaning up the system to pave way for new teachers has advanced. He explains that they are sorting teachers who have reached retirement age to accommodate new teachers and those who deserve to be upgraded to the service. And meanwhile, Ministry of Information and Media Director spokesperson Tabo Kawana says government is working tirelessly to actualize various pronouncements contained in the 2022 national budget. Patrick Soko reports.
This is St. Columbus in Lusaka's Chilanga district, where the Teaching Service Commission and the Ministry of Education are undertaking a cleanup to sort out teachers who have reached the retirement age, to pave way to new ones and upgrade deserving teachers. Sunday, 6th of March 2022, Ministry of Information and Media Director Spokesperson Tabo Kawana took time to get abreast with the process. Teaching Service Commission Vice Chairperson Clement Sinyinda started by giving an update on the ongoing process, where he indicated that even teachers who have not been on payroll will be accommodated once the system is cleaned up.
We are promoting others. As we promote them, they are paving way to those that are coming in. And apart from that, we are upgrading. You can see even these files here. The majority of them are retirement, the majority of them are upgrading, the majority of them promotions. So this is what we are doing. It is part and parcel of recruitment of teachers, because you cannot just bring new ones without first of all creating some positions in some places in the teaching service.
Notably, the recruitment of teachers in the past has been marred by corruption allegations, prompting teachers who were recruited under the previous administration but not put on payroll to report to the Anti-Corruption Commission.
What was there was corrupt, and why can't you investigate your officers, the ones who were recruiting teachers?
But Mr. Sinyinda says corruption under the new leadership will not be condoned.
We condemn corruption in the strongest term. We know that it is not good, especially when we know that the young ones would like to get jobs. And then, because we are told, it is alleged that in the previous commission was getting money from, that is an allegation. I can't confirm that one. But speaking on behalf of this commission that is there, I can assure you that we are a new crop. We are not going to be involved in any corruption.
He adds that Treasury Authority has been granted on the recruitment of 30,000 teachers as enshrined in the 2022 national budget.
Already, Treasury Authority has been given. So the 30,000 teachers will be recruited, just like you are saying. But as you may know, this is part of the process, in the sense that you were asking me about the teachers that have not been put on the payroll. How do we put them on the payroll unless, of course, we do what we are doing right now? Because it's part and parcel of recruitment.
Meanwhile, Minister of Information and Media Director Spokesperson Tabo Kawana says the government is working around the clock to actualize its commitments as enshrined in the 2022 national budget when it comes to addressing the plight of teachers in the country.
The heaps and heaps of VOWS and the people working from all the provinces. This is part and parcel of the teacher recruitment. The 30,000 teachers that are being brought on board cannot come on board until the system is cleaned up. And the dedication to do the cleanup is what you have been able to see today, and you're able to show the nation. This is a program that started from the district, culminating to the province, and now it's at national level and about to conclude. They are done 90% work, and you can see the dedication of the men and women. This is the civil service that is in the new Dawn administration. There is no Saturday, there is no Sunday. They work throughout to ensure that they save their country, and we create the spaces, and we recruit the 30,000 teachers that are coming on board. In every scenario, there will be doubting Thomases. But I can assure you, and I can assure the nation, that we are going to recruit the 30,000 teachers. If I were a politician, not a civil servant, I was going to say to them that Manyala, like given Lubinda, but we can't say that. We are civil servants now. So we can assure the country that we are going to recruit the 30,000. The process has begun in earnest, and now this process is 90% concluded. Any minute now, you will hear the Minister of Education giving a ministerial statement on the floor of Parliament, and the details will be contained therein in the minister's speech.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Former Iteji District Commissioner Hendrix Kaimana has urged Republican President Hakainde Hichilema to focus on revamping the economy as opposed to arresting people especially those who served during the previous administration. In an interview, Mr. Kaimana has described the charges given to those who have faced arrest as trumped-up charges. Meanwhile, Governance, Elections, Advocacy, Research Services, GEARS Initiative, Zambia Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi believes there is nothing political about the fights against corruption. More in this report.
For the past 6 months after the United Party for National Development UPND administration took over office, a number of arrests have been made, especially on those that served under the previous administration, the Patriotic Front, on different allegations. These arrests may be seen as a move of ensuring that justice prevails and those that may be found wanting by the law are made answerable for their actions. However, some opposition political party members still maintain that the action of arresting people who might have served under the previous administration is unnecessary and not of help to the country. Last month, former National Democratic leader Chishimba Kambuli, also a member of the opposition Patriotic Front, added his voice after former PF Deputy Secretary General Mumbi Piri was arrested by the police and charged with the murder of UPND sympathizer Lawrence Banda.
I think I'm calling upon the international community, the church, and all the NGOs to condemn the arrest of Mumbi Piri for murder, because we all know that Mumbi Piri did not murder Lawrence Banda.
Former Itezi District Commissioner Hendrix Kaimana is also of the view that the arrests are not of need, but the ruling party should focus on revamping the country's economy.
These cases that are coming before the courts, we are appealing to His Excellency the President of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to really focus on the economy that is in the limping edge. The economy is in distress, and these issues of arresting people on trumped charges are not helping us and taking Zambia anywhere. This is the time we need to get united and focus on fighting the economy and see how best we can turn around. And also on the increment of fuel, we are very disappointed because this is against what the president was promising during his campaign. We don't know what has happened to his calculation. So really, we are appealing to the president to say, let him focus on working on the economy, let him restore the confidence and the hope that the people of Zambia expected.
However, not everyone holds the same view. GEARS Initiative Zambia Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi feels that the opposition political parties and civil society organizations need to encourage law enforcement agencies to bring cases where justice was not done to justice. He disagrees with the continued politicization of the fight against what might have occurred during the previous administration.
We feel that it is very premature for now to start politicizing issues of justice. Now imagine if tomorrow another prominent person is arrested over Obed Kasongo's death in Rome. Would Mr. Kambwiri again say the same thing? I don't think so. We believe that, meanwhile, you were a swallow during your time in power. You would even pass in front of those who had no power without you being caught. But now time has come. You've become very powerless, wingless, featherless, and so on and so forth. So to me, we feel that that's not the best way to do. Actually, the opposition must encourage the law enforcement agencies to bring all those cases where justice was not done to justice. Let's not bury evil just because of politics. No.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Patriots for Economic Progress President Sean TEMBO has charged that the country does not need to amend the Public Order Act, saying it is okay in its current form. Mr. TEMBO says what is needed is political will in the implementation of the law. Various stakeholders have been championing calls to review the Public Order Act in order to curtail the Zambia police from allegedly abusing it to disadvantage government critics, especially during the elections. Speaking with Camnet News, the opposition leader says the Public Order Act is just okay, but that it is politicians who need to change their attitude on its implementation.
For us, we are challenging a number of issues, a number of decisions by a number of statutory bodies, such as the decision by ECZ to compel parties to pay nomination fees twice when there is a cancellation. There is no law which says that. It's just based on the individual judgment of the officers in these offices, these institutions. So if that attitude can change, and they can adopt an attitude of respecting the principles enshrined in the Constitution, the principles of democracy, the principles of rule of law, the principles of transparency, the principles of accountability, then they wouldn't have to make those bad decisions. So it's about the attitude, really, of the political leadership, other than the laws themselves. As far as we're concerned, all the laws are just fine as they are. Even the Public Order Act, there's nothing wrong with the Public Order Act. It's about the attitude of the political leadership in enforcing that law.
A social scientist, Innocent Kolala, is confident that Zambia will hold the national census of population to better respond to the country's major economic and political challenges. The government of the Republic of Zambia has issued a statutory instrument to gazette the period 18th August 2022 to the 14th of September 2022 as the official dates for the country to undertake the 6th National Census of Population and Housing. Mr. Kolala regrets that the country could not initially hold the census as expected in the year 2020 due to financial constraints. He says for the country to better meet the needs of the population, a national census is vital. More in the following report.
A census includes the total process of collecting, compiling, analyzing, evaluating, publishing, and disseminating statistical data regarding the population. In Zambia, the body charged with this responsibility is the Zambia Statistics Agency. Zambia's 60th census was planned to take place in August 20, but was postponed to 2021 due to funding challenges and the United Party for National Development UPND, after taking over office, the process was pushed to the year 2022. Zambia has consistently conducted censuses since independence in 1964. Previous censuses were conducted in 1969, 1980, 1990, and 2000. A social scientist, Innocent Kolala, is hopeful that Zambia will hold a national census of population to better respond to the country's major social, economic, and political challenges.
This helps the government to make the best solution or the best decision or the best interest of all the Zambians. It is very, very certain that much as it is provided for in the Constitution that after 10 years we are supposed to be carrying out or conducting the census. But I believe the Zambian out there might be aware that the last time when we conducted the census, it could have been 2000. 2010 we did not conduct the census, and because of that we do not have the correct figure or the correct number of the people of the Republic of Zambia, which makes it very difficult even when the Zambian government, they are trying to plan for its citizenry.
Mr. Kolala says for the country to better meet the needs of the population, a census is crucial.
We were supposed to hold the census, but we did not have the census. The figures which we had were just speculative. Henceforth, we did not even know the correct number of those who are supposed to participate in an election and those who are supposed to, for example, if we wanted to go for a referendum, how were we going to know the exact number of people? Therefore, it is very cardinal and very, very important to ensure that the country undertakes the census so that each and every individual is counted and each and every individual be part of the government budgets, such that I think everyone should start feeling to be part and parcel of this country. And the decision by this able government led by His Excellency, our Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, that they take up that route of ensuring that the census be done, I think it is a much welcome to almost all the Zambian people.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Mbabala constituency lawmaker Joseph Monsanje has observed with concern that his constituency may take more than a year to recover from the hazards caused by the floods during the 2021-2022 rainy season. Speaking to Camnet News, the lawmaker says despite life slowly going back to normal, the area still needs adequate attention in terms of safeguarding the livelihoods of the people. He says the Vice President Mtalena Lumango is cognizant of the prevailing situation in the area, where more people have been robbed of their livelihoods. He is confident that the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, will respond to the people's needs accordingly.
It's now down to basic streams. However, the impact will go on for the next 1 year plus, because now we have to wait for the next planting season, since we lost most of the crop. We have to wait for the next planting season, and hopefully when we plant for 2022-2023, maybe that's when we'll do normal harvests. Otherwise, this year the harvest will be highly impacted. They will be very low, and we have to start planning now for hunger and alternative foods for our people. So they have to, because this is a natural disaster that happened in Mbabala constituency and many other constituencies or districts in the country. So this information is known by the Vice President's office. The Vice President has taken stock of this information, and so DMMU falls under her honor, the Vice President's office, and they are already working on systems to support our people going forward. So we will just be waiting for support and continuing to remind the office about the need for climate resilience agricultural support to our communities, as well as alternative crops that can be utilized going forward.
Kembe constituency member of parliament and HIV activist Princess Kasune has expressed sadness that while the country has been focusing towards combating the COVID-19, other diseases such as HIV has been affected. The government disclosed that 1.2 million Zambians are on antiretroviral drugs, while the country recorded 153,000 new HIV infections in the year 2021. Speaking to Camnet News, Kasune has underscored the need to improve HIV responsive programs, especially adolescent services, in order to combat the pandemic. More in this report.
While Zambia has been fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, focus on other diseases has been affected, and assessments conducted by the Ministry of Health attested to that. One such disease is HIV, which is a chronic but manageable disease. The government disclosed that 1.2 million Zambians are on antiretroviral drugs, while the country recorded 153,000 new HIV infections. Of that number, 144,000 are on ARVs during the year 2021. Zambia's Health Minister, Suvia Masebo, is cognizant of this problem.
1.2 million Zambians are on the life-saving ARVs. Members of the press, countrymen and women. Unfortunately, in the last 12 months alone, about 153,000 Zambians were newly found to have HIV infections, and 144,000 of these were started on ARVs. About 60% of all women newly found with HIV infection were between the ages of 20 and 34 years old.
Kembe constituency member of parliament and HIV activist Princess Kasune, who tested positive to HIV in 1997 and the following year went public about her status, is concerned that gains the country has made to reverse the deadly pandemic may be lost without the right focus.
The infection rate that is now about 157 about, it should really ask each one of us to say, what am I doing? It seems to be a forgotten issue, but HIV and AIDS continue to be alive and well, and we are seeing the increase around teenagers or productive age. I think it was around 25 years of age coming down, and we also know that people from their 40s coming down are also highly affected.
The lawmaker, who has played a major role in combating stigma on HIV in Zambia, says young people must be safeguarded by enhanced adolescent HIV services.
It is, we are leaders and someone is looking up to us. So really it's a call that we shouldn't sleep, we shouldn't bury our heads in the sand. This issue of HIV and AIDS is still alive and well, and it's so connected to gender violence, it is so connected to teenage pregnancy, it's so connected to many other vices.
HIV is no longer a death sentence, but if Zambia is to end HIV by 2030, more needs to be done in line with the global targets. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Free Press Initiative Zambia founder John Chira has expressed concern over numerous challenges that children face on a daily basis, which continue to hinder them from fully realizing their potential and contributing positively to the country's development. In an interview, Ms. Chira says unless children are viewed and treated as partners in development and are granted an equal voice, most of their potential will remain unrealized and their rights violated. She adds that this year's theme on International Children's Day of Broadcasting should be a strong point of reflection to their safety whenever they are exposed to different media channels. This year's International Children's Day of Broadcasting is being celebrated under the theme, End Violence Against Children Through Safe Media.
The FBI also sees the International Children's Day of Broadcasting as a platform that children can use to shape, transform, and combat adverse cultural norms and practices that have for many years prevented them from fully participating in the development process. Unless our children are viewed and treated as partners in development and are granted an equal voice, most of their potential will remain unrealized and their rights will continue to be violated, as we have seen on many occasions. We therefore call upon all stakeholders, especially the media, government agencies, civil society, and the private sector, to invest and create platforms that will facilitate the inclusion of children's voices in decision making.
This is Camnet TV Main News. We take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. There's so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Tourism Permanent Secretary Evans Mohanga has urged members of the public to avoid encroaching in national parks so as to curb human-wildlife conflict. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mohanga says the encroachment of such areas has only resulted in the escalation of the human-wildlife conflict. He says people living near game management areas are at risk of having their crops destroyed by the wild animals or getting killed, hence the need to take precaution.
Actually there, especially for, as we are talking about wildlife. But what we'll tell you is that they'll always coexist, you know, especially in those areas. So if you live in the GMA, obviously you'll be able to coexist. And part of what we are trying to tell our people, our citizens, is also to avoid encroaching in the areas like national parks, where you go and start having the field or your animals are there, because you are now going to cause that or escalating the aspect of human-wildlife conflict itself. Then you will complain and say that the animals or the wildlife are the ones that are causing problems. And yet, we have designated areas where people should settle and not in the national parks. So encroachments as well, we are telling to encroachers, please follow the law to the letter.
Policy and Governance Center Executive Director Mario Tinyango has emphasized the need for the government to tackle barriers to energy efficiency investment in order to unleash clean energy potential in Zambia. In an interview, Dr. Nyango says he is happy that the country has set a goal for universal electricity access for all Zambians by 2030, however noting that evidence on the ground shows that it is unattainable. He says there is a need for greater efforts as the government expects to bring online additional megawatts of solar, hydro and thermal power through 2030. Dr. Nyango has since urged the government to take advantage of the energy sector, as Zambia has an estimated large hydropower potential of 6,000 megawatts, of which less than 2,000 megawatts has been harnessed.
With the potential that Zambia has in terms of renewable energy, we think, the new Don government will need to scale up, the policy space so that the new people that come in. Without that, obviously, we could have a lot of struggle in terms of meeting the needs of the people, energy for all and industrial need. So it's quite important that we really look at the policies that were in the past and correct what was wrong, so that we actually can open up opportunities for more investments in the area.
Acting Provincial Fisheries and Livestock Coordinator for Northwestern Province, Gelsom Mwanza, has challenged fish hatchery operators in the province to produce quality fingerlings for the farmers to improve aquaculture production. Mr. Mwanza further assures the fish hatchery operators of government's technical support in providing alternative and sustainable livelihoods through supplying of quality fingerlings to the local farmers and beyond. The Acting Provincial Fisheries and Livestock Coordinator was speaking during a fish hatchery operators meeting held in Solwezi. The fish hatchery operators meeting is aimed at evaluating their performance and experience for the 2021-2022 breeding season. Details in this report.
Time from their daily routine of producing fingerlings. These are fish hatchery operators from various districts in Northwestern Province. They are here in Solwezi to attend the meeting. The meeting is aimed at evaluating their performance and experience for the 2021-2022 breeding season. Acting Provincial Fisheries and Livestock Coordinator for Northwestern Province, Gelsom Mwanza, graced the meeting.
As Minister of Fisheries and Livestock Northwestern Province, we are highly encouraged by the increased number of farmers embarking on aquaculture production. You know, aquaculture is very important for Zambia. It's a source of income. That's why you are into fingerling production, because you want to sell and earn a living. So please, I would encourage you, use our officers. They have a role to play, you have a role to play. You have the resource, you have the land, we have the knowledge to give you. Our office is very open.
Frank Chihana is Northwestern Provincial Fisheries Officer.
apart from the demand that we have, the 9.7 million, we're likely to go maybe up to 12 million fingerlings. But the question is, do we still have the capacity to produce?
Fish hatchery operators are motivated with the technical support from the ministry.
I just want to say thank you to the Fisheries Department here for arranging this meeting. As a new company, it's been very informative for us, being able to listen to experiences of other hatchery operators who've been in the business for longer and the challenges they faced, and also just learning in general from their experiences to help us grow.
Just asking if the government can help us as fish farmers here, because sometimes we are lacking some resources in terms of capitals.
For the Department of Fisheries and Marketing, the production of quality fingering and marketing strategies is key.
I think it has been mentioned that we're talking of quality fingerings. Why do we need quality fingerings? I think this is obvious. For our farmers to get a growth performance, the fish that they stock, quality fingering is key.
We need to realize that fish farming is a very profitable business, very lucrative business, if at all it's well managed. So as fingering producers, you are entrepreneurs, and as such, you need to run your activity as a business.
Aquaculture production is also part of agriculture diversification for the farmers to realize that farming is a serious business. Krivach Tuta, reporting in Soros District, Northwestern Province.
Thank you for staying with us. We'll take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news after the break.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, Savenda Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. Savenda Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We still need more players, yes, because we need to balance the team. We need to have maybe on one position 3 or 4 players.
The third Camnet Stars football trial is on. This time, Camnet Stars are looking for young, talented and skilled soccer players between the age of 18 and 20 years old. Start your lucrative football career in Europe this July. If you know you are one of Zambia's best gifted soccer players, don't waste your time. On Sunday, the 13th March 2022, there will be trials for professional soccer stars. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Time, registration 13 hours. Kick-off 14 hours. 100 kwacha non-refundable shall be paid, and your birth records must be produced upon registration. Camnet Stars, setting football standards for international market.
Welcome back. And now in international news, Visa and MasterCard have announced that they will suspend all operations in Russia in protest at its invasion of Ukraine. But Russia's major banks, including state-backed Sberbank, have already downplayed the impact the move will have on consumers. Shoppers will still be able to use MasterCard and Visa branded cards for purchases within. For this and other stories, here's a roundup of international news.
The new head of state of Burkina Faso, Lieutenant Colonel Damiba, announced a new government on Saturday, saying it will lead the country during a 3-year transition period. The new executive consists of 25 ministers, including 6 women. The new transitional leader took power at the end of January after overthrowing elected President Roch-Marc Christian Kaboré, accused of ineffectiveness in the face of jihadist violence that plagues the country. Speaking on Saturday, Damiba made the fight against jihadism and the rebuilding of the state as his priority. Following the military coup, ECOWAS announced the suspension of Burkina Faso from the regional body. The new leader set a transition period of 3 years for a return to democratic rule.
I'm a spokesperson said that
Kakwenza Ruchira Bashaija says this is the price he paid for criticising Uganda's ruling family. He says his ordeal began in December when soldiers broke into his house, beat him, tied him and blindfolded him before driving him to a military barracks.
I don't know what they were using to beat me in the back, either a hippopotamus whip or a wire, something that really gets into the skin. It was very painful. Excruciating pain.
He was detained for 4 weeks. He says he saw and heard several other prisoners being tortured too, including one man whose skin was repeatedly burned with an iron. He says the interrogations were brutal.
Getting pliers, they start plucking flesh from my thighs, all of this.
He believes he was arrested because of the 2 books he's published. The first was a satirical critique of Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni, and he says he was detained and tortured for it 2 years ago. He described what happened in the second book. The Ugandan government denies running torture chambers.
This matter is being investigated by government within the security circles. But it's not true for him to say that people who are detained in Uganda are tortured. It is not true to say that there is no freedom of speech in Uganda.
President Museveni has ruled Uganda for 36 years. His regime has faced growing accusations of rights abuses. It's his son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, that Kakwenza blames for his detention and torture. Muhoozi denies it and says he's never met Kakwenza. But Kakwenza says Muhoozi saw him 3 times during his detention, forced him to apologise, made threats and offered him money to take his books offline and stop writing.
And that is when I met General Muhoozi for the 3rd time, and he was like, he wanted to be sure whether if I am released, I am not going to write another book about my torture.
Kakwenza was taken to court last month and charged with insulting the ruling family. The court kept his passport, but he fled to Germany, where he says he plans to write another book documenting what happened to him.
They have the money, they have the guns, but they touch the wrong button. They joke with the power of a pen.
He says he's so traumatized he can barely sleep for more than an hour before being woken by nightmares. He says he'll seek medical treatment in Germany, but plans to return to Uganda and continue writing. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera.
A step like that will have its own really, devastating effect on many sectors, social classes, corporate. Quite a lot of economic sectors will be affected by this movement. However, this damage is not going to be only for the clients or the card carriers. There will be a damage for the company as well, for the Visa and other credit card companies. We are talking about the sum of 210 million card holders in Russia, and the latest statistics show that around 850,000 cards issued every month. If you take in consideration how much the limit or the spend by each individual, and Of course, you're talking about a humble average of $500 or $600. Who's going to settle this bill if the company took such a decision? It may cripple a lot of businesses inside the country and outside the country. Because, for example, it doesn't mean, you know, they are only affected as Russian, because they import product from outside. If they are.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, at least 22 people were injured when violence broke out among the crowd at the top flight match in Mexico. The Liga MX encounter between Querétaro and Atlas was abandoned after 63 minutes when fighting spilled onto the field at La Corregidora Stadium. Some players attempted to calm fans down before they were sent to the locker room. Local police said 2 people were seriously injured, with 9 in total taken to hospital. Visitors Atlas led 1-0 when the match was suspended. Meanwhile, Camnet Stars head coach Elijah Chikwanda says the boys put up a good fight in the Under-19 Zone 2 game played against Blaze Football Club, which they won by 2 goals to 0. Meanwhile, Blaze FC head coach Dickson Chinko says there was a lot of edge cheating in the game. More in this report.
Camnet Stars have emerged victorious after beating Blaze FC by 2 goals to 0 in the ongoing Zone 2 games. Camnet Star head coach Elijah Chikwanda says the boys put up a good fight, hence deserving to carry the day. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Chikwanda says the boys are slowly getting into shape when it comes to the game of football.
Both teams, our opponents and our players, our team, both teams played well, but it was our day and we managed to win the game. Of course, the players, I think they are growing game by game, and what I feel actually is that the boys should work more extra hard so that we achieve on our goal.
And the goal scorer Msondawalia says the game was intense against their opponents despite carrying the day.
Intense, but our team managed to contain them. As we went on, we played as a team. We managed to get a goal. Second half came, we continued the pressure, we continued to go. What we have to work on is fast movement as a team and better communication.
Meanwhile, Blaze FC head coach Dickson Chinko says there's a lot of edge cheating in the game.
Under 19, but I saw edge cheating in this game because this league was meant to choose players for under 17, under 20, and under 15 national team. But the way I've seen, the way we are conducting ourselves to get 3 points, because us like Blaze FC, 3 points is nothing to us. But our aim is to develop the players, but not to target 3 points. The way I've seen the other team, because me, I'm a national team coach.
Pasco Simachila, a striker from Blaze FC, says the game was okay, but his team needs to work hard for the next games.
The game was just okay. They really gave us a good game. We are kind of asking for the friends to work hard next time. It was really a good game for us. We just have to work hard as a team. So next time we'll have a win. It was a good game for them. They gave us a good game. Thank you very much.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
Well, on that sporting note, we come to the end of the news, but before we go off the headlines once again. Treasury Authority granted on teacher recruitment as Teaching Council of Zambia vows not to entertain corruption. PEP leader Sean Tembo opposes amendments to the Public Order Act, but calls for political reforms. Father-in-law provokes marital dispute for putting pubic hair in his son's bedroom. In international news, Visa and MasterCard suspend Russian operations. And in sports news, at least 22 injured as fans fight at Mexican match. We'll now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from the book of Joel 2, verse 12 to 13. This is the Lord's declaration: turn to me with all your heart, with fasting, weeping, and mourning. Tear your hearts, not just your clothes, and return to the Lord your God. For For he is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, rich in faithful love, and he relents from sending disaster. Thank you for watching Camnet News. Once again, my name is Jeffrey Siambo. Good night.